Good morning, family of God. I want to wish you all a happy, fresh new week, and I'm glad that we are about to begin our week with the Word of God. Now, the verse for this week comes from the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. Philippians 4:13, and Paul says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You see, in Ellen White, 88 years of life, amid sometimes joyful, sometimes sad, with problem that seems to contradict God's grace in our life. Experiences like when he lost her husband at the age of 53, lost her 2 children, and in spite of all these difficult situations, divine providence never seems to be absent in the life of the Lord's servant. Even in our life, my brothers and sisters, sometimes God's grace does not manifestate immediately as we ask and hope for. But then if we have an historical perspective of how God led us in the past, then we recognize that God has never failed us. There are a lot of miracles that happened in Ellen White's life, but few are striking as important as her work as a writer. In Selected Message, page 101, she says that at the age of 17, all her friends thought that she was invalid for life on an account of a severe accident that she sustained in her childhood. And then a heavenly visitant came and spoke to her saying that I have a message for you to bear. Now the first reply was, this is not me. Why me? There should be something wrong terribly somewhere. But then the words kept on saying to her that I have a message for you to bear. Write it out to people that I give it to you. She says that up until that time, my trembling hands had never been able to write a single line. But then the word says, write. So she took a pen and a paper and she started to write. You know what she says? How much that I have written ever since is impossible to estimate, and that is only because of the power and the strength of God. She goes on to say that if we place ourselves in the right relationship with God and determine that by His help we will be able to do our part in this ministry in a better way. And same with the life of Paul. You see, when he heard the Lord saying that my grace is sufficient and my power is made perfect in your weakness. Now later in the year, in the prison in Rome, when Paul wrote the letter to the church of Philippi, he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Why? Because he was able to see the demonstration of God's power in his life. And he goes on to say that all that has happened in his life has turned out to be the betterment and the furtherance of the gospel. You see, my brothers and sisters, as you begin this week, you and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. May God bless you, and may you all have a wonderful week. This is Nelson Thanaraj from Weekly Bread Ministries.